my name's Renee and this is my cash stuffing journey. If you're new here, thank you so much for taking a chance on clicking on my video. I hope you decide to like, subscribe and stick around for a while. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your ongoing support. I really appreciate it. So today's going to be a little bit of a different video. I am a member of a few cash stuffing Facebook groups, and something I am starting to notice is more and more people coming into the cash stuffing community, and they're not quite sure where to start. They feel overwhelmed with all the information out there, and they're really struggling to kind of get the ball rolling. So what I've done is I'm going to do a budget cash stuffing 101 type video. So when I started, these are the kind of things I learned along the way, and I made quite a few mistakes. So I'm trying to stop people from making those mistakes if I can, because it was a tough time for me. I started this journey probably the middle of 2021, and I didn't know enough. I feel like I failed. I was overstuffing. I was pulling money from other envelopes all the time. We just never seemed to have enough. It was just, so I washed my hands of it for a while, and I said, nope, I can't do this. It's not right for us. And then I did some more research, and I watched more videos, and I started again in October of 2021. So I had a few month break, and then I came back, and I had a different mindset. I viewed it as, what are my priorities and how do I achieve them? What are my goals? What are my savings goals and how do I achieve them? And that's what I focused on. So what I've done is I've taken what I've learned over the last few months, and I'm going to create, like I said, a kind of budget cash stuffing 101. I've gone onto Canva and I've created these kind of basic trackers. So there's an income tracker, there's an essential expense tracker, there's a daily living expense tracker, a general spending tracker, there's a blank calendar, a debt tracker, and a savings goals tracker. Now these are all going to be, I'm going to try and have them up on my husband's building me a website. I'm going to try and have them up in a free resource library. I don't have that at the moment. So if you would like this pack, it comes with the 7 documents. If you would like this pack, just send me an email and I'm happy to send them to you. And these are free. There'll be no charge at all. My email will be in the description, and as soon as I have that website up, I will announce it, and then these will be available in the resource section, and you can reprint them as many times as you need to. So I've actually pre-filled mine. So these are the ones I've done. I based this loosely on my own budget. There is a little bit of differences here and there, just because my budget is not my own, it's my husband's as well, and some things he wants to keep confidential and some things we need to. So at the moment, so what I've done is I've filled this out, like I said, from my own budget. So we're going to go through the steps together, and hopefully this helps. I really struggled, and if I can help just one person not kind of feel that failure feeling, that's a win as far as I'm concerned. So what I think you should do is, before you start anything, is print off, if possible, or make a note of 3 months of your bank statements. So sit down with 3 months of your bank statements, and I want you to get different colored highlighters or markers or pencils, just because I find that's visually easier to go through. I mean, you can have a couple of lists and write them on each list, it's up to you. But what I do is, the first step you need to do is find out what you're earning. You can't really make a budget if you don't know what you're earning. You don't know what money is coming in. So sit down and make a note of every single dollar that comes into your account for at least, I would say, 3 months. You can go back further, but 3 months gives you kind of a good overview of what you're earning. So for me, on the 1st of the month, I get my Etsy side hustle income. Now I earn $178, but I'm only focusing on 100 of that, because 78 of that is staying in the bank, and that's kind of for expenses. So $100 of that is what I'm including in this total right here. So we get a government benefit for my son. He's special needs, and I also get a family tax benefit because I earn under a certain amount per year. So that is $1,088. Then I get my income from my employment is $2,271. And that's one fortnight. Then the next fortnight I get the same government benefit and the same income. Now I do get paid twice a month, and my income is the same. It's the same every fortnight. It never changes. So it's a little bit, I feel it's a bit easier for me because I know exactly what's coming in, and it's a bit easier for me, I think, to budget because I can split my bills in half and pay the same amount each fortnight for those bills and have them be paid. If you've got a variable income, this may be a bit more difficult. I would research the Budget Mum and Jordan Budgets. They have variable incomes throughout the month, so they might be able to give you a more detailed way of doing things specifically for when you get paid once a month. But for me, this is how I work it. You can still use my system. If you get paid once a month, you might just have to tweak it to suit you, which is what happens with every budget. It's a very personal thing. Everyone's is different, and everyone has different goals. But this is just kind of hopefully this is going to be a foundation for you to build on. So I get $6,818 per month. So now I know exactly how much I'm getting per month, and I can work around that. So once you've done that, you should create 4 lists. So the first list is going to be your essential expenses. Now, these are the expenses that you cannot live without. So things like housing, travel. So it may not be a car. It may be you take public transport to get to and from work. So that for me it's a car, but for others it may not be. So rent. I pay $1,700 a month, and I pay that fortnightly. I have a car payment is $100 a month. Now, I will get into more of that a bit later of why it's so low, but basically we went through a really, really, really rough stage financially, and I couldn't make my car payments. I couldn't. It was on the verge of probably being collected. It was that bad. So I rang the car company, I explained my situation, and I requested what is their financial hardship policy. Now, most companies, if not all of them, have a financial hardship policy. Now, for me, I had to fill out a certain form. I basically just said what my income were, what all our expenses were, including debts, and they came up with a payment plan for me. Now, what they did is they actually took off the interest from my loan in total, so all I'm left with is the principal, and they lowered my payments to $50 a fortnight. So $50 every 2 weeks I pay, so $100 a month. Now that I'm doing a lot better, I did ring them to find out if they wanted me to increase my payments, and they said no, they're happy to do that. So at the moment that suits me, but as it gets closer and closer to us buying our own home, which is our goal, I will probably clear this debt because that will affect how much we can borrow. That's a very quick summary of it. So then I have a credit card, and that is for $200 a month. I do swimming for my son. He's special needs, and to us that is an essential. He has to have that pool membership. It's how he kind of does sensory stuff, and it's one of his favorite activities, so that stays no matter what. My husband has a very small debt, and we pay $50 a month on that. Our utilities are $500 a month, and that actually comes out of our Centrelink payments. So before we get paid our government stipend, they take $250 a fortnight, and they pay it directly to our electricity company. And I actually forgot that they take $50 for our gas. So, and then we have 2 buy now, pay later services. We are actually paying these off and getting rid of them, once again, for the goal of owning our own home, because they are viewed as a negative on your lending viability. So it will bring down how much we can borrow, essentially. And in today's housing market, you need every single dollar. It's getting pretty ridiculous. Okay, so for my essential expenses every month, I pay $3,510. So once I take that out of the $6,818, I think I'm left with about 2,000 something, or 3,000 something maybe. I'm sorry, I did do the calculations, but I forgot to write them down. So the next list is your daily living expenses. So these are the things you need in your day-to-day life, but they're still quite important. So for us, it's medication for my son is $80 a month. Groceries is $500 a month, and we shop every 2 weeks. Fuel, we spend $100 a month. At the moment, we've only got my husband's small car, so that's fine. But we're aiming to get my car back on the road because it does have some maintenance issues. That will go up significantly because I have a really big SUV and I love it. I'm sorry. I know I probably should have a smaller car, but I love it. We do live in a regional area, so it is good to have a big vehicle like that. And we do have a trailer, so it kind of works out. Family time, I have at least $40, which is $20 a fortnight. And we will often take the kids to the park and then get an ice cream as a treat. Or if we've planned to do an activity, we will take this as spending money. And another daily living expense is once a fortnight, my son goes bowling with his papa. And that is one of his favorite activities too. So if I can't stuff anything, if I have to pick something that has to be stuffed, it would be this and groceries and his medication. So that's one of the really important ones for us. For other people it may not be, but for us it is. So the third list is your general spending. Now this is the stuff that kind of pops up out of nowhere, or it's a monthly subscription, before I get into that, I forgot to show you so that one's $920 a month for the daily living expenses. Sorry. Okay, so general spending. So my son's allowance is $50 a month. He gets $25 a fortnight put onto, I don't know if you have it in the US, but it's like a Spriggy card. It's like a debit card for kids. It's like comes on a fancy card that he picked the flash. And I transfer money onto what's called the parent wallet, and then I distribute that to him. Every time he spends money on it, it sends me an alert, tells me what he spent and where. As he's older, we might transition him to a normal banker card, but due to his special needs, we don't know if it's going to be viable at the moment. So, but we're working on that living skill. But for the moment, he has $50 a month. Me and my husband play the lotto. We like getting lotto tickets. We enter into those like win a amazing home. That's just kind of our little fun thing that we do every fortnight, and we do that $60 a fortnight. I have a Kindle Unlimited subscription. I am an avid reader. Like, I devour books, and it just wasn't viable for me to be spending in between $3 and $18 per book. It's just not. So, because I go through them too quickly. So I do the Kindle Unlimited subscription. If you have never heard of Kindle Unlimited, I would highly recommend it if you're a big reader. I pay $13.99 a month, and I have access to the whole Kindle Unlimited library, and there would have to be millions of books at this point. And then you borrow it, you read it, and then you return it. You can have up to 20 books in your library now at a time. It used to be 10. And if you reach 20, then you just return one and you can borrow one again. So I highly recommend that service. I think some people do have codes for that. I'm not one of them, unfortunately, but there's a lot of YouTubers that have Kindle Unlimited codes that gets you like an extra month free, I think. Or you can just go onto the Amazon Kindle website and just sign up. You get a free month to see if you like it. So I highly recommend that one. Maybe if I get to where I want to with this channel, they might sponsor me one day. How about that for a goal? Amazon Audible, I also pay $16.99 a month, and that entitles me to one free Audible book per month. And I do a lot of that. I used to do Kindle and Audible a lot more when I was pregnant and working. I'd put my headphones in, or if I was having trouble sleeping when I was pregnant, or when I was doing housework and stuff. But it's a bit hard with Evelyn now. When she gets upset, I need to be able to hear her. And when I was also studying. So when I was at university, I used to use that a lot when I was studying. Canva is actually a business expense, but I did put it on here because if, for example, my Etsy payment is, if I don't get an Etsy payment, I have to be able to cover that expense myself. So Canva is for my small business, and I use that to do all my YouTube thumbnails, all my savings trackers and challenges, and all that kind of stuff. So Netflix is $23 a month, and that has just gone up, so we're not quite sure if we're going to keep this, but I've put it on there for now. Okay, Cricut, that's my Cricut subscription. So for my cutting machine, which I use to personalize all my budget binders, my budget envelopes, my coin jars, any envelopes in my store, I use the Cricut. Kogan, which is our mobile phone plans for 3 people. So it's me, my husband, and my son. We pay me and my husband pay $25 a month, and my son's is $15. Fast food, I budget about $80 a fortnight. Fast food is quite expensive in Australia, so we might spend $80 for one meal. For example, we got Chinese, this fortnight's fast food was Chinese, and we spent $60 for a meal for 3 people, because my son doesn't eat it. He's got a very restricted diet. So it was just me, my husband, and Evelyn who ate. Yeah, that can go quite quickly. And then general spending, I budget about $300 a month. And then my daughter gets formula, and that's $55 a month. We have a subscription. She gets 2 cans once a month, and she's slowly weaning off that onto solid food. So our total general spending is $566. Now, when I calculated it, sorry, I'm just skipping ahead a little bit. That leaves us with $1,825. Now, if you had nothing left, or if you're in the negative, so you might be earning enough but overspending, or you may not even be earning enough, what I would do is, this list is the first one I would attack. So this is a lot. So for example, say I was a couple of $100s in the negative and I was spending more than I was earning. The first thing that would go would be the lotto. So that's $120 a month that I've just saved myself. Then I would get rid of fast food, and I would get rid of spending in general, or I would cut that in half. Then I would go through and get rid of the next important one. So I would probably keep the Audible, the Kindle Unlimited, just because I use it so frequently, and that's kind of that's the one thing I kind of make sure that I have. But I would get rid of the Audible because I don't use it as much. I would keep the Canva just because I use it for my small business. Same with the Cricut, but I'd get rid of Netflix. So I would get rid of the fast food. And my daughter is currently transitioning to solid food, so I could probably cut this down to 1 can a month quite easily, and it wouldn't impact her at all. I can probably even actually do that now, to be honest. I just like having a bit of a stockpile there. So this is the kind of stuff that you would attack first if you're not earning enough money. Then if it's still like that, I would come to this one. So I would have a look. Well, medication is kind of important. Can you spend less on groceries? Is there any way that you could buy cheaper brands? Could you buy less? Could you shop at a local fruit market and vegetable market instead of going to a main grocery store? And as much as it pains me, I would have to cut out the family time. And then if still we were struggling, I would cut William's bowling budget in half. So instead of doing, say, 2 games of bowling twice a fortnight for Les and William, we would cut it in half, and if we need to, William would be the only one bowling if we needed to. So that would cut it right down to like $50 a month. So that's what I would do anyway if you're not earning enough. So once you've got this list, you can clearly see where you're spending your money, and if you need to, where you can cut things down, where you can break your budget down to the bare bones if you need to make sure that your expenses are being covered. Now, I'm going to keep going as if I'm earning enough and I have that $1,800 left over. The next thing I would do, so we've gone through the essential expenses, we've gone through day living, and we've gone through the general. Now, what I would do is, this is for the month of May. just write this in. I would sit down with my lists, and I would put in all of my income and all of my expenses. Now, for me, it's a bit easy because I don't have to put every single expense, because my fortnightly expenses are the same every payday. So when I have a payday, I pay those fortnightly expenses. They don't change. It's the same amount every 2 weeks. So I didn't bother putting those on there. But if you're getting paid monthly, or you really want to break your budget down so you know where every single cent is going, there's plenty of room on this calendar, and there's a note section for you to add all of that information in. But for me, I've put my paydays, my income, in blue. So my Etsy income is on the 1st, my first payday is on the 11th, and my second is on the 25th. Then I've gone through and put in my monthly expenses, because those I forget every time. I've got them in my calendar and I still forget, but I've found that this system actually works. So what I've done is I've got Amazon Kindle on the 6th. My daughter's got her formula on the 12th. I've got Amazon Audible, Canva, and Netflix on the 16th. Then I've got Cricut on the 29th, and I've got Kogan on the 30th. Now, because I have 2 paydays, what I would do is the payday before this, so 2 weeks from here, I think it works out being like around the 27th, I think, I would have paid for Amazon Kindle. So for this payday, I pay everything in this period. So for this payday, I would pay for my daughter's formula, Amazon Audible, Canva, and Netflix. Then the following payday, I would pay Cricut and Kogan. So that gives me a little bit more wiggle room in how much I would have left over in each fortnight. So I might have more of that $1,800. What was it? I would have more of that $1,825 left over in one fortnight than I would in another. But that's just what works for me. Down here in the notes section, if, say for example, William has a school excursion come up, I would write that down here and then put it in the calendar, and I would put a note of how much is there. So I know that I would either have to pull that out of my school expenses envelope, or I'm going to have to try and cover it by one of these pays. So that's an unexpected expense. And that does happen, and I do try and give myself a little bit of wiggle room to cover those kind of unexpected things that pop up. Like, for example, this fortnight we had to order a skip bin to do some work around the yard and in the house. So that was an expense that I wasn't really expecting, but because I knew it was coming up in the last 2 pays, I've been able to kind of shuffle things around a bit so that I can pay for that. So once you've done that, so once you know exactly what's coming in, exactly what's going out, and when it's going out, I would move on to your debts. So I would make a list of every single debt you have, whether it's a small one or a large one. I would put the category it falls under, the company, how much is owing in total, the minimum monthly repayment, and the interest paid. Now, we are quite lucky. We only have one debt, and that is our credit card that has interest on it. So we're quite lucky in that regard. Now, for me, I use the snowball method. So what happens is I've listed all my debts here. So I've got a car payment. I've got $2,650 with no interest. I've got a credit card for $2,987 with $200 minimum payment and a $50.41 interest payment for the month. I've got a buy now pay later for $13.35, and I've got one for $8.92. And then my husband has a small debt. So what I am doing is, most people would probably go after the credit card first, just because it is charging interest. I'm doing it a little bit differently because I want this one to kind of be the last debt that I pay off. So I am tackling this buy now pay later one first, because that's the smallest one. So I am paying $60 a fortnight on this one. Ma'am, I am trying to record. What are you doing? Sweet floofy cat. Okay, Sorry guys, this is Lexi. She's a very fluffy calico. Okay, so where was I? Lexi, stop. I know you want cuddles, but you can't. I tell you, these cats, they don't give a dang. Come on. I'll give you cuddles later. Sorry, she keeps quiet trying to jump up now. She wants attention. Sorry, guys. So, yeah. So, I'm attacking this one first because I can pay this off and close it down. So, I'm paying $60 a fortnight. As soon as I've paid this one off, I will roll this into the credit card payment. With the other buy now, pay later one, I'm in the process of paying that down and I'm going to close it off. Then whatever I was paying on that one will then go onto the credit card. So as I'm paying things off, it's rolling into the credit card. Some people pay off one debt and then all of that goes into the next one and then the next one and the next one, and it keeps going up until they're all done. But this system works for me. So once I've done all of that, so once I know what debts I have and where they're going, I then have to think about my savings goals. What am I saving for? And when I was first starting out, I had way too many. And it just wasn't working. So what I did is I broke it down and I asked myself, what do I really want to achieve? What is the one or two things that I really, really, really want to focus on? And when I did that, I came up with 6 of them. So there were 6. So it was an emergency fund, it was a deposit for a home, an account for each of my children, a general savings, and an annual expenses. So when I first, this is what mine looks like now. When I first started, I had 4. I had emergency deposit, William, and Evelyn. That was the only 4 I focused on. And as I've kind of gotten a bit more experience and a bit more confident in budgeting and cash stuffing, I've added extra ones. And these ones here are broken down into many different categories. But to make it easier for the video, I've just kind of lumped them all together. So, man, dang, persistent little floofy cat. So what I've done is, for an emergency, I want $1,000 by the end of the year. Deposit is $30,000, and I've left it open because we do have a bit of a deadline, but I'm hoping that we might be able to stretch that deadline a little bit. But the goal is $30,000. So William, I would like $1,000 per year, but for this one, I'm just aiming for the 31st. Same with Evelyn. Now, general savings is things like car maintenance, school expenses, health, and things like that. And then annual expenses is things like car registration, birthdays, Easter, Christmas, Mother's and Father's Day, things like that. So these are the amounts that I want for all of those events, if they're all pulled together. So $3,500, and that's open. I'm just going to tick it over, and that's the goal. And then when I get at the goal, I'll see how I feel. I might swap them out for something else, or I might keep going. And annual expenses is $5,500 by the end of the year. Same with that one. I'll just let it keep ticking over, and each year I'm going to have to try and save that same amount of money. So if you minus the deposit, because that one was rolling over, it was $12,000 total, and that means I can pay $1,000 per month. Now, because I earn $1,825 extra, so because that's what's left over, I can put that in those envelopes and I will achieve my goals. Now, with the deposit, I can put in $800 a month. That's how much I can do at this time. This is right now at this time. That may change. It might become less. It might become more. As I pay off debts, those debt payments, once I've completely debt free, those payments will go straight into the deposit account. Now, I am also doing a wide range of savings challenges, and that they're all going into the deposit payment. But this is just the real basic rundown. So once I've stuffed all my envelopes for my daily living expenses, and once I have broken down what my goals are, I can see that I've got $1,825 a month to meet these goals. And based on what my goals are, I can meet it, and I'll actually have $25 left over. So what will I do with this $25? Put it straight into debt. So I will either increase my one of my buy now pay laters from $60 to $85, and that'll cut it down even quicker. You could make an extra $25 a month payment on that credit card and start bringing that interest down, because once the principal comes down, the interest comes down. So I hope that's kind of all I have. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments, and if I need to, I will do a follow-up video. I hope this helps. I hope I've explained it in a way that people can understand. I have already done a video. It's called My Hybrid Budget System, on how once the funds go in my account, that video explains what I do with it then. So it says like what's transferred electronically, what do I cash stuff. So it goes into really big detail on what happens once the money hits my bank account. So I highly recommend you go and watch that after this one. I think it would be a really good follow-on, because the few videos after that, I actually use that hybrid budget system, and I do videos throughout the week to show how I use that system using my own budget. Yeah, so if you have any questions, please put them down below. If you have any feedback on what could be changed, or if you see anywhere where I could improve, I am happy to hear it. I think everything is a learning experience, and I love seeing how people do things differently. I hope this helps someone. I really, really do. And just, yeah, let me know if you need help understanding the system. Please send me an email. I'm happy to discuss it with you, and maybe even run through the budget with you. I am not a financial advisor by any means necessary. This is just my system that works for me, and we might be able to adapt it together for you. So yeah, I hope this helps. Yeah, so please comment down below. Remember to live, laugh, love, and when life gets hard, just roll it in glitter. Bye, guys.